Hey everyone, last time we talked about my experience in the log cabin, which really helped me finalize my narrative beat sheet. But today I want to dive into a pivotal resource that transformed my writing journey, which was a book called The Nutshell Technique by Jill Chamberlain. It was a book recommended to me by a friend of mine, and it opened my eyes to some deep storytelling concepts rooted in really going all the way back to Aristotle and the wisdom he learned from the Greek tales and the Pantheon and all of those things. These are story practices that are deeply rooted in our culture today. You see, at its core, every story is one of two things: a comedy or a tragedy. In an Aristotelian comedy, the protagonist moves away from their flaw and toward their essential strength. A classic example is Star Wars, 1977. Luke Skywalker's journey is the perfect embodiment of this. And then on the flip side, you have the Aristotelian tragedy, where the protagonist clings to their flaws, like in Revenge of the Sith. But it's not just about whether the character is evolving or not. It's crucial to understand what they want at the beginning of the story and how they go about getting it. But here's the kicker: there's always a catch, right? And that catch is the perfect testing ground for the protagonist. It's essentially what the story is. The catch is this specially curated situation that's going to challenge the protagonist's flaw. And whether they adapt and grow or remain stubbornly stuck determines their fate, especially at the crisis point. So in a tragedy, they might reach the pinnacle of success, only to see it all come crashing down. That's like classic rags to riches kind of a story. In a comedy, they've lost everything, but they recognize the consequences early enough to recalibrate and make the right choice. And this is where the final step comes into play. It's sort of the point of no return, where the protagonist declares, "This is who I am after this curated situation, and I'm not going back." And so this nutshell technique is the secret sauce that so many successful writers use, and surprisingly, not many people are aware of it. I mean, and this is stuff that I'm learning from some of my friends, like in the filmmaking industry. When Hollywood pros evaluate scripts, they're looking for that critical 25% mark to see if the nutshell technique's point of no return and the catch are present. And if those moments aren't present 25% of the way into the script, your story, odds are, won't see the light of day. And so because of that, because these deep-rooted truths about storytelling are so important, the nutshell technique is more essential than other popular narrative techniques like Save the Cat or Hero's Journey. Nobody in the film industry, I mean, they want to see that structure. It's nice to have. But if the nutshell technique isn't the most important bare bones thing happening in your script, they don't want it, because it's not gonna tug on those subconscious strings that's going to build the stakes and make sure that the vision, the philosophical conflict is at its peak potential, right? And that's essentially what the nutshell technique does, is it challenges writers to consider what the protagonist truly represents. And essentially what the protagonist is the philosophical conflict in physical form. And the protagonist represents the choice between strength X and flaw Y. And so when I discovered this treasure trove of insights, my story shifted dramatically from a science fiction fantasy universe where a bunch of situations happen, and it turned it into an an epic medieval tale of cosmic proportions, right? So I say all that because if you're looking for more tools to elevate your writing, I can't recommend the nutshell technique enough. It might just change the way you approach your narratives. So that's the update for today. We'll see you guys next time. Hope you enjoy the video.